Bem-vindos a mais um episódio do Don't Panic, It's Organic, da nossa playlist Hanging with the Pros. Segundo episódio com entrevista internacional e dessa vez uma fera do CRO, Analytics, SEO. Esse cara é uma fera. Arnout Hellemans. Tive o prazer de conhecer esse cara pessoalmente há 3 anos atrás. Desde então somos amigos e quero trazer o conhecimento desse cara para vocês hoje. Arnout, thank you for accepting this invitation. We have been talking quite a while to do that. We finally managed. Yep. Thank you very much for being here with us. So without much further ado, so people get to know you here in Brazil, tell us about Arnout, your career, your history into digital marketing. We were just talking just now and you're just finishing, you're a judge on the conversion elite. So I think you have a lot to share with us here.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm Arnout. I'm married. We have 3 lovely children living in Amsterdam. I'm 44 years old, so one could say I've been in it for a while. Are a lot younger. And then where shall I start? So I've always been very interested to be in the part where technology meets marketing meets humans. So my first job after graduating uni was actually in telecoms, building DSL networks. And I applied for a job, didn't get it, and I ended up in support. So, I mean, you finish your studies and you end up in a support job. Normally, you wouldn't do that. However, it was a fast-growing company. This was back in 2000, so the dot-com bubble. And then, so I got into that, and I pretty fast, I moved into technology, aka development, database queries, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Did that for Telecom Italia, then France Telecom, and then I was asked by a few friends to build a property platform. This was down in 2006, 5, 6. And they asked me, we just want to work with you. So what's up? What do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to be in marketing. So I started in marketing. The problem I had was that basically, when somebody would ask you, like, what kind of color should this little dot be? And I'm like, what the fuck? I couldn't care less. So I moved more into the digital space. And somebody showed me Google Analytics, and my first reaction was, why should you look at this? It's worthless. I don't know. So I literally didn't touch it. However, back in the days, there were like 2, and the 2 SEO agencies we hired them in, or we asked them for a quote, and they quoted $20K to do SEO. So I said no. So I went to SEO Moz back in the days, and I started reading on it, and I started doing something. And then I saw that changing a link, an anchor text, changing an H1. Every single element on the page was an H1. So big impacts. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. Then I got a hernia. I ended up, and I think I'm almost there, but I ended up, the company got sold with me and a hernia. And then I got introduced to 2, well, basically, I think the best SEOs in the Netherlands. One, you might know, he developed the Yoast plugin.
Well, I think people here in Brazil also know him fairly well.
Exactly, the WordPress plugin. So he actually, it's a funny story. I got my first link off of the Yoast.com domain.
There you go. Not many people
can
tell you that, is it?
It's still there.
There you go.
Basically, it was him getting a cargo bike and me getting a link. And my client went from position 8 to number 2. That was that easy back in the days. So they taught me a lot. And then I decided to start working for myself. First as an SEO and PPC, buying loads of links and doing all the stuff you shouldn't be doing, aka still happens. Just developed. But in a very early age, in about 2 years later, I got a bit bored because it was too easy. You just buy a few links, you change a bit of content, done. Where's the fun? So I started developing myself more in the analytics space and in the psychology space. And I think more SEOs should be doing that. You can use it for outreach, but also it's not about rankings. Rankings are a way to get traffic to your website. But essentially, if your website sucks in converting it into business,
what's the point?
Focus. And I think fully agree on that.
Definitely.
So that's where I ended up now. And I think we met in St. Petersburg, or was it Helsinki?
Yeah.
With Semrush.
I think. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it went. I'm still self-employed. And I work for big brands like NatWest Group, so RBS and NatWest in the UK. I also am in a babysitting platform, which is also live in Brazil.
So I heard, yeah.
.com.br, and I'm helping the Next Web with their whole online strategy.
That's good. That's a huge history, man. It's like gone through everything, and I think that's what makes tailors us good professionals in it. Like getting your hands dirty, you know, building your own websites and experimenting it. For me, it's just all about that. And really, obviously, as SEOs, we do care a lot about rankings, but what is rankings and traffic that doesn't convert, right?
It's worthless.
Yeah. So it's sorry, go on.
No, it's like if you don't convert it, or if you don't get anything from a visit, then why would you want to have the visit? You're basically losing money. But the same thing I often tell people is, like, they say they want to rank for this keyword. And then I go, well, but that's not exactly what you're offering. Yeah, but it has the biggest search volume. I'm like, well, really? Because if you would go for this sentence, which is exactly the problem you're solving, but it has a search volume which is 20 times less. However, 50% converts, whereas the other one, nobody converts. Then what are you going to pick? So it will be way easier to rank, and you'll have a business. So it's a no-brainer. And I think more people should be focused on that.
Well, now that you said, I wanted to talk to you about CRO, conversion rate optimization. And you mentioned something really interesting, which I share the same ideas or the same concept as you, which for me, the conversion rate optimization, let's say, it starts with picking the right keywords, understanding the search intent behind each keyword. But so people understand a bit more, because you are a judge in the elite conversion. You're just telling me that you're judging until 4 a.m. this morning. Talk us a bit more about CRO, because I was speaking with Fernando a while back, and he said you even have your own metric around CRO, that you analyze the website and say, this doesn't make sense, this makes sense. Talk us a bit about your visions into CRO and how you work with that.
So I think one of the most important ones is that not a lot of people take an outside look at their website. Hardly anybody, and even I get blinded by working too much from the inside.
Right.
So you need to step back, and you need to think about, how do other people perceive this? So talk to peers, talk to your friends, and say, why would you take this? Or why would you do this? Or could you try and order this from my store? Could you, and literally just look over their shoulder and see what they're doing.
Right.
Great one is using tools, session replay tools like Hotjar. that will show you what is actually happening. And I usually show that to companies to literally show people are frustrated. Nobody likes to be frustrated. And frustration starts in search. So when you Google something and you click an ad or an organic results, and you go to the website and the website takes ages to load and it's not clear what you need to do next, what are you going to do? You're going to drop off.
Definitely, you bounce.
So literally have a think about when people are searching for this, what is their journey? So a great one is, for instance, if you work for a bigger website, what you could do is say I want to open a bank account. So I Google open a bank account and then the name of the company, the bank.
Yeah.
And what I often see is that then there will be like 5 results saying open a bank account. With that, you're confusing the user.
Definitely.
Also confusing the search engine, but you're also confusing that basically only one of those 5 has the right journey. So it starts in search, but then you drop off on the page and you go, whoa, why did Google pick this page, for one? And 2, why is this page even here? Because it's about something different. So a great tool, and I think it works with you as well. So what I often tell people, it's the big why. Why would somebody do something? So a great way of measuring this is by looking at the PAA boxes.
People
also ask boxes. So you can use tools like Answer the Public, but they've closed it down quite significantly. However, there's also one which is called also ask.com.
That's the one I've been using it, and because it's so good in all languages, Portuguese, Spanish, English. These guys are killing it.
Yeah, exactly. And the great thing about it is you put a topic in, you get everything that people are Googling about. And so if you put a brand in, you'll see all the questions they have about the brand. And you should be using that to take away those doubts, because questions are usually doubts.
Definitely.
So when people get
user doubts, most importantly, user doubts.
Exactly. And now you can actually see that it's not just one person, because people then ask me, like, how many people are behind the search? Well, enough for Google to show it as people also asked. So it's not like one question, it's a significant amount. The other great way of doing this is by talking to customer service, by looking at what kind of forms come in, what kind of feedback, what kind of questions do people ask in Messenger or WhatsApp or wherever. And that will just drill you down into the human brain. And once you've been able to take away all of those doubts, you're really on your way to becoming a user-centric website, that where people will find what they're looking for and they'll do what you want them to do. Another great tip I think people should look at is, imagine closing your eyes and your eyes straight after, and then what's attracting your attention? If that is not the thing that you want people to do, you're doing it wrong. So people are very lazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Very visual.
I see that.
So this is where that fits in. So apart from all of these little things, I think, and also a really big one is, everybody wants a fast experience. I don't think it's part of the algorithm at Google as such.
Right.
However, and I'll explain it later when we're going to talk about some rank stuff.
Yeah.
But the interesting part here is that if people, so basically, what is Google's biggest asset? I'm just going to ask you. And all the...
I would say data, search data. He knows the search behavior of every human being on earth. That's my point. Is that wrong?
I don't think so.
What is that then?
It's users.
Well,
because if there's no human users, there will be no money to be made from all that data.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Makes total sense.
Yeah, so if you think about this, who are you going to blame if Google sends you to a page which is slow? Who are you blaming?
Well, the website, the owner of the website.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's slow, isn't it? No?
Yeah, but Google sent you to a place.
Oh, okay, Google. Sorry, yeah, definitely
Nice.
Google. It's Google's fault because it's generating me a bad experience. Yeah, totally with you.
There you go. So it's not only to save bandwidth, but it's also about user satisfaction.
It's all about it, I think.
What?
For me, it's all about user satisfaction. That's what Google is after, driving you to websites that offer that. And obviously, fast loading websites is one of the criteria that everybody really eagers for it.
Exactly. So that also is a big part of CRO. If you can improve your load time with 2 or 3 seconds or 50%, which especially in WordPress is relatively easy.
Definitely, yeah.
There's plugins, and then you click in Cloudflare, you get everything sorted, and it's also free for most smaller websites. So it's relatively easy to do. And once you've done all of that, then you've taken away at least one of the barriers. So I think CRO is about user intent satisfaction and site speed. So basically experience. So it's about satisfying the question in the right way with the right experience. If you merge these together, you're almost there. It's, to me, CRO is not so much about A/B testing as well as getting the brilliant basics in place.
Right.
Okay. So those are...
it's a very interesting point, because what you're saying is, before you get on to trying to get all this advanced stuff or like A/B testing and so on, get the user intent right. Make sure your pages are addressing or solving the problems that your product is supposed to solve. Not just like, oh, let's change the color of the button to red instead of yellow. Yeah. And this is all, as you said previously when we were offline, a lot of balls, because what you want is like, get the user intent, make sure your website and your pages are aligned with what your users are requiring. And for that, you gave some really interesting examples. Go and talk to your customer service. Go and talk to your audience, instead of like trying to hire the best tools and do things that you're not even addressing the need of your user, right?
I'm definitely not a fan of tools, because tools are often used as that will solve my problem. But as you know, that's not the case. Tools don't solve problems. Real humans solve problems.
Definitely.
Are what they are. They're tools. They're not problem solvers. So, but basically, all the tool providers really want us to say, if you get us, you don't have any problems anymore. And we both know that's not true.
Definitely.
We need tools to do what we do, but I think the biggest part is in here, is in our brain, is in the way we look at search results. So to give you another example is, if you're going to optimize content, say you want to rank for, there's 2 types of TV, LCD and LED. Yeah?
Yeah.
So people are looking for comparisons.
Definitely.
So what you're going to do is you're going to build a comparison page. Yeah. Because keyword research says that's what people are looking for.
To a certain extent.
Yes. However, when you do that, the first step should always be that you start Googling it yourself.
Definitely.
Because if Google will only bring up YouTube reviews and you're going to create a page without a video on it, you'll rank #1 organically, but half of the page will be full of videos, so nobody will click it.
Definitely.
You always have to start by just looking at, Google gives you so much data. I mean, we've always been complaining that they take away data, and they do, but they also, it's in plain sight. Yeah. You just have to Google it.
Yeah, that's what I do, Arnout. I'm glad that you're bringing that up because I've been talking about that quite a lot over the past few years. Search intent and user intent. You have the answers in the SERP. The answers are always in the SERP. If Google is bringing videos, you give your users video. If it's bringing images, you give them that. If it's bringing articles, and it's a reverse engineering. It's so simple to do that. And the answer is there. And people try to, oh no, we need articles with 2,000 words. We need this and it. No, you don't need. You need the answer to rank for that term. It's in the SERP. Reverse engineer that shit and you're going to get it. Right?
Exactly. Just do it slightly better than your competitor and you'll get it.
Yeah, definitely.
So that brings me to another point, which is quite controversial probably, but fun to talk about. What if RankBrain really exists? And what if it's part of supervised machine learning?
Well, I do believe, because we do have to believe, isn't it? And we're gonna say for certainty that how it works. RankBrain is the algo that has been fed with a lot of information, even from the manual raters. That is the evolution of the algorithm, and it's adapting it, and it's trying to think as a human in the sense of returning the most relevant results and using those user signals to rank pages. That's my view into it. What's yours? I'll give it back to you now.
Well, basically, this part started when, so when you Google me, when you Google my name, I have a featured snippet. I have a knowledge panel.
Knowledge panel. I was going to ask you about that in a minute.
Yeah. So the thing is, everybody thinks that that is powered through Wikipedia. Well, I'm not on Wikipedia. So there are certain structured databases that will allow for data to pop up. The way this works, in a nutshell, is you've got truth about an entity and you've got identifiers. Identifiers are things like your Instagram page, your indexable Telegram username, your LinkedIn page, your Twitter username, so basically what Google does is, we've seen core updates.
Yep.
What I think is happening with core updates is that they go back to a link-based index.
Looking for references, which are not...
No. Purely PageRank.
Right.
So they revert back to PageRank. This is why you see all these things popping up all around. And interestingly, what Google then says is, we are still rolling out. But they are not. They're not rolling out. They've rolled it out already. However, now the supervised machine learning, which is called RankBrain, which you pretty much explained, is trained about looking at certain user signals. So think about that first part where the user is the biggest asset for Google. So user satisfaction, AKA an endpoint for a query,
Yep.
is the ideal result. If somebody has to do multiple queries, then Google is not doing it right. Yeah?
Yep. Yep.
And now what happens is the human behavior. So if, say, I would Google that example of LCD versus LED, yeah? And I would get normal website results, and I would then go to video, to the video tab. What will happen then is that is a vote for a video element on the page.
A user signal.
Exactly. So think about this. So what happened when there was a core update, I lost all my rankings. I lost my knowledge panel. So the first thing I thought is looking in these structured databases, and I was still there. So why is it gone? What I noticed is that my famous name sibling, so he's the same first and last name, but he used to live in the 17th century and was part of the royals.
All right.
That guy has purely PageRank, has a way higher PageRank than I have.
More references.
Yes, links. So he took over my position in the SERP. So he got the SERP. However, because nobody was actually Googling him, everybody was clicking on my result, my LinkedIn page, my website, because those were the only two ones in there. And by doing that, Google started showing more of my entity in. So my Twitter account and my Instagram and everything. And that reinforced that I owned the SERP, AKA owned the entity.
Well, wouldn't you say that the user signals would also help you regain your knowledge graph? Because the way I
100%,
see how
100%.
RankBrain really also works is the fact that people search for something, Arnout Hellemans, and all the link graph or the page rank graph till then it's stronger for this royal from the 17th century.
Yep. Yep.
As more people start to search nowadays for Arnout and they click on your results and your entities, this is a strong signal to the to RankBrain or to the algorithm that it should show you up, not the 17th century guy.
Exactly. So what will happen is they will click on the 17th century guy and then saying, this is not the guy I mean. And then they go back and do a refinement search, or they click another result, which is an even stronger signal.
Right.
So when you fit everything this in, basically core updates are just, this is purely purely link-based, what the results should look like. And then because in big verticals with a lot of things in, with a lot of searches, it quickly stabilizes. Whereas in the long tail, you can have really shitty results popping up.
Got ya. And you know, one thing that I have been doing, and I think it correlates to what you're saying, I've been forcing a lot of like big brands that can invest into branded searches together with their product name, say Apple iPhone or Apple smartphone, because that for me is a big feeder into the RankBrain algorithm to trigger, say, everybody's talking about smartphones.
Of course.
Apple. And if someone searches just for a smartphone, a strong signal that people are searching with the brand, say, I need to show that guy up. It's the same concept, right?
Yeah, it's the same concept. Have you heard about the thing called Word2Vec?
No.
So Word2Vec is basically a huge part. It used to be really big within the algorithm. So it would look at the distance between words. If you have enough documents, so it's basically a vector. So this has a vector of, say, 2 centimeters to this one, and this one is, so with that, and taking all the stop words like the, a, and all of those out, you kind of can put connections in place that are normally not there. Purely not by understanding the language, but by looking at the distance between words.
Got ya. And the correlation between them and the frequency between which terms is searched more with that one and the combination. So yeah, this is something that I have been I would say testing it and advocating about it, because that's my way I see. Together with everything that we said, that's how you feed the new algorithm, and that's how you game. Actually, that's what I want to talk about. The new way to game the algorithm is inside all these searches and exploit this word back, as you said, in the sense of Google. A lot of people are talking about smartphones, and they always correlate with Apple. So the distance between smartphone and Apple is very close. So anytime someone searches for a smartphone, it must show Apple results together with other brands as well. But the stronger the correlation is, the higher you possibly could rank.
Possibly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a more interesting thing here is the actual user signals. So what will happen is, if you launch a new page, even though it doesn't have the rank value, Google will try it for a few instances in the top. Because if it's really relevant and more relevant than anything else, then it might stick at the top, even though it doesn't have link value.
Yeah.
So what it is here is, again, so user experience is extremely important.
And what you said about back with the PageRank stuff, that there's a rollback, is that when Google doesn't find those signals, it reverts back to the PageRank, because that's how it can have the trust signals to rank something, right?
So basically, I think what happens is that the PageRank gets updated, however, but slowly, and then they tweak. This is why I say it's supervised. So they tweak what kind of metrics define success for the machine learning.
Good, yeah.
And then they reset all the user signals and let that algorithm roll out. And this is why sometimes you see a rollback, or you see a core update in May and then another one in June. Why? Because they tweaked these signals too much. So the results were becoming really irrelevant. And at some point, there's a red flag saying, oh, we need to revert this change.
Got ya. Makes sense.
So I'm not saying...
That is how it works, isn't it?
What?
We just wish Joe Miller could come up and validate our ideas here.
No, because he's never going to validate this. Definitely because I've also thought about ways of gaming this.
Yeah.
And a very simple one, especially in smaller countries, so probably not Brazil, is by getting people to search basically get in the autocomplete. So you take your most profitable product, you autocomplete it with your brand name, you get, 1,000 people to do that on their own phone, and you'll get in the autocomplete. And in the autocomplete, once in there, you can reinforce it, because it will autocomplete with your brand name. And if it does that, it will give a big signal, because the search term is always the same. You're really profitable. So if you've optimized your checkout page as well and the price is right, you'll sell the product.
Definitely, yeah.
Rank for it pretty much for free.
Yeah, definitely. I think a friend of ours is doing that. I'm not going to review his name, but I saw he bought quite a few smartphones the other day, and he was going for that.
Yeah, but but that was more local. And the great way of doing this is just get your, basically clients, just give them a code and saying, Google this, hit the page at this. So then all the people organic get a coupon button, so they get the product for free. So it's scalable as well.
It's gameable, let's say.
and scalable.
Yeah.
And undetectable because it's humans doing the search and nobody else.
Yeah, makes total sense. Total sense. Arnout, we could talk here like the whole day about, like we did many times when we met over beers at Brighton SEO, at Summer Jams. Hopefully we can do that fairly soon. But unfortunately, we have to come to the end of our chat here.
Yeah.
If you could share a tip or a suggestion to our audience here in Brazil, people that are starting with SEO or CRO, what would be your most useful tip for this, for our audience here?
For one,
if you want to share.
No. So I think the whole process is start with the freaking basics. So do that research and really optimize your website. I'm doing a talk at Digital Elite Day on using free tools. So I'll give a few away. A great one is batchspeed.com.
We'll share that in the comments below then afterwards.
Yeah. So BatchSpeed is basically lighthouse testing at scale, and it's for free.
Whoa, that's super hot.
It's pretty cool. The other one I'm going to share is, when was the last time you used Bing Webmaster Tools?
If I say never, would you be mad at me?
Yes, in a way I would. It's not so much because Bing is big, because they're not. However, they give you all the link data they have, which is bigger than most indexes. So they're bigger than Majestic. They're bigger than SEMrush. They're bigger than Moz. And they, for your own website. So they'll give you all the pages, the anchor text, the actual page the link is from, where to, what the status code is. So it will give you a 200, a 301, a 302, 400s, 500s, and it's all in there.
Jeez.
And the great thing is, nowadays, you can you can log in with your Google account in Bing Webmaster Tools.
Oh, okay.
And if you do that, with one click, you can import all the sites you have.
Oh. No need for that validation and all, and
no, it's all done.
You just integrate all your Google Search Console validated websites into Webmaster Tools. Oh, this is nice. This is our super hot tip here. We'll have to test it, and yeah, I told you this guys is full of surprises. It is amazing.
So have a look at that. It will give you a lot of backlink data, but also broken links you can fix. And then the Lighthouse tool, start optimizing your website. So another great one is, there is a plugin which is called Lightspeed for, I think it's Lightspeed, for WordPress. And what you can do there, it will do all the speed optimizations in WordPress, like everything. So if you and it's really smart, and you can basically connect it with Cloudflare CDN for free, and then for your personal website, you'll score everything spot on.
Super. Now that's another hot one. I haven't heard of that one as well. So yeah, I knew I would learn quite a few things from you again this time, Arnout. And to finalize, mate, as I said, we have two little games. First one, it's a phrase that you would make a tattoo with it. I know you don't have any, but you know, it's a phrase that's really your go-to phrase, you know, in life, in work, and whatever.
Get the basics right and have fun.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that. I use one here in Brazil that's basic is advanced. So very similar. Good.
Yeah.
And to finalize our one-word game, I'm going to tell you a word, you give me a definition. I already kind of like spoiled that to you. First word is SEO.
Love it.
Oyster.
And as an explanation,
right?
It is satisfying user intent.
That's a good one. Not a phrase. Well done. Oysters.
If you hadn't had them, they are a must-do. I love them, and you know, so that's it. And they're great for pretty much everything. Very healthy.
Well, the Netherlands.
Yeah, and Brazil, because I'm in Brazil now. So,
and family.
Yeah, all good. It's loving it. I really want to come to Brazil at some point.
No, please do. When we can, we'll definitely have one. A few beers here. I know nice oyster places that we can go to as well. So
yeah, and steaks and steaks. Yeah, I mean it's
definitely.
I love steaks and barbecue. So
my treat when you're over here. Arnout,
very cool.
Thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy guy and you've got all your projects going on, but it's been a pleasure. I hope our audience will enjoy it. So yeah, thanks for sharing all your knowledge and your insights with us. It's been very valuable, and we'll meet again, definitely, when we can.
Definitely. And thanks for your time, and really enjoyed it.
So yeah, thank you. It's going to finalize in Portuguese here now. Foi isso, pessoal. Mais uma entrevista aqui no Hanging with the Pros. Arnout Hellemans, essa fera. Vocês viram que teve muita coisa interessante aqui. RankBrain, Analytics, CRO. Assistam, tomem notas. As dicas deles são super valiosas. E até a próxima.